The portrait shows Sir John Hawkins. Here is a statesman, essentially. This is him as an official of the court. He is, of course, also a businessman. His family is involved in the trade to Africa. And in 1564, he actually seized Africans and became the first English slave trader. In the Tudor period, sugar was extremely expensive. The Caribbean was ideal for sugarcane production. Britain, of course, very rapidly developed an extremely sweet tooth, and sugar production had to increase to meet this enormous demand. But this is back-breaking work, and Africans were forcibly transported and in many cases simply worked to death on the sugar plantations. He tried to interest Queen Elizabeth in the slave trade, and she was initially appalled by the idea, wondering what would become of the Africans and what would become of their souls. When Sir John explained the profits that could be made from it, her morals went to one side, and she did lend a royalship for his future activities. There are a lot of themes in the gallery, but one of the key themes simply is that enormous transportation of human life forcibly across the Atlantic, the extraordinary cruelty and misery that was involved in that. And I think to have people reflect on that today and think about potential modern parallels would be a useful outcome from a visit to the Atlantic Gallery.
Turn back, I'm walking around strapped, can't sleep, my enemies won't be back. Call my mama and they scream drama. Critics read, don't they know that they fucking with a G? I'm going to sleep, but with my eyes open, I'm getting high, and I pray that when I go, I can die smoking. Go to the funeral, my homies dead. Passed away, got caught up in the wrong place, got blasted. Hey, that's just another part of being black. It ain't no thing, but if you slang, then you better watch your back, cause these motherfuckers love to see you gone. You gotta stay strong, young brother, cause it's on. And now I'll be slinging these things till the break of dawn. Gotta make my ends, hey, then it's time to take it home. I got some moochies on my pager, it's major. Let me play it like a game of fucking Sega. Time to wake up 2 in the morning. You gotta leave, got to sleep by myself, cause I'm a G. It's time to say goodbye, I got to get my strap.
Black power, people, black power. Black power to my people around the globe. Don't matter where you at, just know we gotta stand together, man. Come together. Pan-African. Pan-Africanism, man. Pan-African. We gotta come together, man, no matter what. Stand together as one united front. You know what I'm saying? Streets watching TV. You know, we back with another fucking video for your mind. Explosive, prolific video for your mind. Something for you to ponder on after I'm gone. Something for your conscience. You know what I mean? You know, people. You know, when you have the proper knowledge of yourself or who you are as a black person and who your people are and where you come from, and before the fall of you, you know in ancient times how your glorious history looked before you fell 400 years ago to a people that don't understand you and really hate you because of the essence of who you are. So when you have that type of knowledge, your self-esteem is through the roof. Nothing they can say or do is shake the foundation of who you are as a black person. So with that being said, we witnessed Meghan Markle go through some self-defeating behavior that she was going through when she was in the Buckingham Palace around former slave masters. Yes, indeed. If you knew the true history of yourself, Meghan Markle, if her mom knew the history of herself, instead of growing up probably hating herself for being African descent, living in America or wherever she come from, because I don't know where these people from. I never paid attention to Meghan Markle or who she was. I didn't know she was an actor. I never knew. until she stepped on the scene and made this move, marrying someone from Great Britain, this part of the so-called royal family. I was thrown back that they would allow something like that to happen after the Princess Diana situation when she tried to go outside her race and subsequently got killed. And they try to blame it on the paparazzi was chasing her through a tunnel, and somehow, she subsequently have a car accident, her and her uh, chauffeur. Like I say, it's much more to that. And then they made sure no one survived, like the man that she was dating was aired. So when Meghan Markle come on the scene, I found out that she is half black and half white, which in my eyes, biologically, you're all black, you know, but psychologically you could be white, and that's what she was. And her mother must have been psychologically white, because if you know the history of the evil people who run the world, such as the Switzers or the Dukes. They got so many Duchess and Dukes and Duchess. I thought, they throw you off with these different titles, and they're trying to emulate something that's African. And if Meghan Markle knew anything about her history, that the people that she married into is trying to emulate the African dynasties of African kings and queens in Africa, how we set up our dynasties as royal blood people. When these people went to Africa, they studied us, also stole from us. And that's how Great Britain got its prestigious power in the world today. It stole from Africans. If you read the history, you go back and read history, you will see how Great Britain got its power off the backs of black people. So in a devastating and dramatic interview with Oprah Winfrey, Meghan Markle said being in Buckingham Palace was like an oppressive situation. Whether she wanted to commit suicide. She won't tell us what really happened, but just little, sound bites of what's going on, like for us, her baby's complexion, that he would not have no title because he's half nigger. You know that. He got that nigga blood running through him. They was concerned that he might come out too dark, so he won't have no title. And they said financially, they ain't giving that motherfucker no money. That's deep, ain't it? I'm not calling the baby a motherfucker, but that's how they looking at it. They don't care nothing about that baby. That baby got nigga blood running through it. That just go to show all you black people out there trying to kiss white folks' ass, they don't care nothing about that. You weak. You just weak. You can be used as a tool. Meghan Markle standing on the palace balcony, paparazzi taking pictures, she's standing out there all proud, like she doing something. Because you'd have married into the most evil people upon the planet. I don't feel sorry for her. Because she should know better. And I know somebody in Hollywood told her, you married into that? Prince William, Prince Harry's brother, believes in depopulation of African people. There's too many black people on the earth in Africa, so we need to save the wild kingdom because the animals are dying off because there's too many Africans in Africa. That's what Prince William believes. He's racist. That's why they cut his brother off. Did you see Prince Harry when he said him and his brother's relationship is distance? This is a cry for help, mercy, because some somebody might die behind this. Y'all people don't know who you're dealing with. Oh, you're going to be like, oh, there you go, that conspiracy stuff. Do your research on the Switzers, the Queen of England, the Kings of England. Do your fucking research on the Buckingham Palace motherfuckers. How they robbed South Africa. So, Meghan Markle got that nigga wake-up call in the Buckingham Palace. I told y'all, in 2021, this Agenda 21, a lot of niggas go get that nigga wake-up call. See, God is going to keep punishing us until we come together as a people. And you can't do it on a religious standpoint. All these Bibles you Hebrew Israel niggas got, put that shit back there somewhere. We already know what God wants us to do. All you Islamic niggas, put that Quran back there. All you Christian niggas, put that Bible back there. Let's step together on one foundation. Let's get unified. You and your God and all that personal shit, that's your personal shit. You know, we didn't have churches and mosques and Kemet. You had your own personal altar set up in your palace or in your house or your mastaba. No, mastaba is the burial thing. I'm sorry about that. The mastaba is where some of the kings were buried in. But in your house, you had your own altar set up. That was personal. Black people, come on, man, wake up. You see Meghan Markle, she was in that palace and they dogged her. She been living a white life all her life. The British royal family has always been intertwined in the fucking slave trade. (1555), well, they got 1560, but according to the knowledge that I've been studying up on, in 1555, there was a merchant by the name of John Hawkins from England who was endorsed by Queen Elizabeth I of Buckingham Palace to enslave African people. She gave him the money for the expedition to enslave black people. And the tradition of slavery, until they outlawed it in Great Britain, the British royal family participated in the slave trade and got rich off the backs of black people. So majority of the money, and I could say the majority of the money that the royal family has today came from Africa, especially South Africa diamond and gold mines. Don't you know the biggest diamond was found in South Africa? It was stolen out of South Africa. In fact, this diamond weighed 3,106 metric carats. Whatever that is, that must be heavy, because they made 9 big diamonds out of this diamond that they stole out of South Africa. Don't you know the crown that Queen Elizabeth II wears on her head? These diamonds came from one big diamond. They made 9 diamonds out of one diamond. 9 diamonds out of one diamond. So that's 10 diamonds on the crown of her head. The crown. See, they're trying to emulate your history, black people. So why do you want to marry the imitator? They emulate the Egyptians, the black Egyptians, by calling themselves the royal family, because that's what the Egyptians called themselves, the royal family. So Meghan Markle, I have no empathy because I know someone in Hollywood forewarned you. And it was probably somebody black in Hollywood told you not to do that, but you did it anyway. And you suffered the consequences. Black people, we can't pay attention to that because some people make their own bed and lay in it. If I go out and commit a crime right now, robbery, and go to jail, you people are not going to be on TV. You're not going to be on social media trying to help me get out of the trouble that I am. And I probably did it to probably take care of a baby or someone in my family or, or me, myself. I probably economically deprived and had to commit a crime to do what I got to do. This is why Streets Watching is on right now, because I'm talking to my street niggas. Fuck you talking about? We bang on the beats right here. But if I did something like that, you'd be like, I made my bed, so lay in it. She made her bed, Meghan Markle, lay in it. You gotta know how treacherous these people are, the murder, they have committed. There's a lot of things going on. When the Queen Elizabeth was here in the United States, was the same day Prince got killed. Oh, they sacrifice people. Yeah. I'm not even gonna go there because this shit is deep when you're dealing with the ruling class, the elite, the shit that they do to obtain prestiges and power in the land. They got so much money that they get bored, and the shit they do is deep, dealing with children, sex, all kind of stuff that they do. Slavery still going on. They still kidnap people for their self-enjoyment. This stuff they do behind the scenes, but they don't want you to know. There's a lot of things that Prince Harry can't tell y'all because his head will be cut off. There's a lot of things that Meghan can't tell y'all. See, it's a trap. Sisters, you got to be careful. Y'all marrying into former slave owners, just like Candace Owens. She married a white man from Europe, England, if I'm not mistaken. Candace Owens, the one black chick that runs around disrespecting black people for the white narration that we ain't nobody. She's married into a family that were former slave masters. Sisters, y'all weak when y'all fall for these people. Because they winning. I know, because they winning. Because they winning. Y'all the first one scream God, too. How you think God looking at these Europeans, how they went around the world killing people to get in position where they at today? They went around the world robbing people, and they ain't the devil. They went around the world robbing motherfuckers. And she married into that. They went around the world. Don't you know the British robbed India out of $45 trillion and left them fucking trains that they built? They had a train fucking station that they had the fucking Indians build, the people of India built, and they took $45 trillion away from India. They oppressed them, killed them, did everything, raped the grounds. It came to $40 trillion. They raped that ground. They got uranium, gas, oil, not even counting the spices, the gold. They raped them. And that's what these Europeans did to Africa. They go around the globe raping and pillaging. And she married into that kind of motherfucking family who got its motherfucking prestiges in the land and power by blood money. They do what they want to do. The Queen of England is fucking exempt from being jail ever. No matter what she do, she'll never go to jail. That's how much money and power this white bitch got. True story. Prince Andrews, that's why your boy came up missing. Jeffrey Epstein. Prince Andrews was on that island. The Queen's son was on that island. Raping women. And that woman said, I know who he is. He got a picture of him or her together, and they showed it on TV. He said he don't remember taking that picture. He raped that woman. And that's why your boy Epstein ain't here today. You feel me? Y'all got to put two and two together. Meghan married into this satanic family where they used to practice incest. I didn't even get deeper than that. You ever heard, this for the young people, because they might not ever heard of this shit called Dracula, the old movie Dracula. Okay, Dracula is a real person, but he never went around biting people on the neck. Dracula is some kin to Queen Elizabeth II and some kin to her husband, Prince Philip. And this is why black people have to study. Dracula was a real person, but his name was Valdemir the Impaler. Valdemir the Impaler. Look that up. Valdemir the Impaler. Look it up. Valdemir the Impaler was made into a movie, a fictional character called Dracula. But Valdemir Impaler killed his enemies with a long stick, big piece of wood, and it ran through you. Then he also had metal. It ran through your body. He impaled them all. Evil motherfucker. I think he got killed by some Muslims. And this was like in the 14th century or the 13th century. They cut his head off. But he used to go around the land impaling people with this long ass rod that run through your fucking heart and you dead. He just do this shit randomly. This evil motherfucker is some kin to the royal family. This motherfucker's from Romania. You look it up. Prince Philip, Prince Charles, and all of them brag about being some kin to Valdemir the Impaler. But this is what your girl, Meghan Markle, want to marry into. She had to know a little something. These people dealing drugs, prostitution, anything to make money on. Streets watching. Mash up the likes, man. Leave comments below. Am I wrong for not want to support Meghan Markle? I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. That shit just something to keep us distracted for what's really going on in the world. Fuck her. She made her bed. I'm out of here. Streets watching.
We need to hear these hard truths.
Enslavement, rape, torture, working to death.
We've convinced ourselves that we are the only nation in the whole of history who's only ever done good.
My opinion is based on reading and learning all of these facts, and that's not right.
The legacies of the past have shaped our society.
For more than a century, Britain was the chief slave trading nation in the Atlantic world.
British ships traded about 3.25 million people across the Atlantic Ocean.
So what happened to those people? Enslavement, rape, torture, working to death?
It's hard to imagine the empire's economy without slavery, without the slave trade. And it's not just because the slave trade was particularly profitable, it's that it provided the labor in the Americas that made everything else possible.
It's a period where sugar, for instance, goes from being a luxury to being something that everybody was using every day. Cotton, which was grown by enslaved people, was fundamental to the Industrial Revolution in Britain. So it's absolutely transformative for Britain. Britain legislated to end the slave trade in 1807, and that came into force in 1808, but didn't outlaw slavery itself in its own colonies until 1833, and that act didn't really fully go into force until 1838.
We're heralded with these ideas that Wilberforce rolled into Parliament and fought, and there are a lot more incidents before that that led to that act, and they were led by people of colour. And we look at people like Equiano, then you'll realise that it wasn't just one person saving people.
It came to an end in a process that led to a lot of British self-congratulation, and very rapidly a story was created that emphasised British abolition and not British responsibility.
We use history to make ourselves feel good about ourselves. History is a place we go for recreation, not to ask difficult questions. And what that means is if history is a place of comfort, you need to remove from it all of the facts, all of the episodes that are uncomfortable, that are discomforting.
The curriculum tends to focus only on quite narrow parts of this history. So I think a lot of children in our schools are learning about the trade in enslaved people, the Atlantic slave trade, but they tend not to learn about slavery itself, and certainly not slavery in the British colonies.
When I lived in England, I was a graduate student in England, you could not get a room full of people together to talk about these subjects. It was just not something that was taught even, at the university level on a very regular basis.
My opinion is based on reading and learning all of these facts, which came after my formal education. And that's not right.
The legacies of the past have shaped our societies, and discrimination is present in all industries, all societies.
History performs a different and I think very worrying function in Britain compared to other countries. We don't use our history to ask questions about how our nation came to be what it is. And that means the history of empire, it means the history of the Atlantic slave trade, it means the history of the horrific violence that undercut empire. All of that gets in the way of history being a place of comfort.
If we're always told that white history is history and the narratives are told from white perspectives, then we don't really appreciate what actually happened.
We need to hear these hard truths. We've convinced ourselves that we are the only nation in the whole of history who's only ever done good. And we honestly believe that. And people get hurt when you suggest Britain, like every other country ever, has done some good things and some bad things. We've come to believe in a fairy tale, and we call it history.